Here's a scenario. This morning, a man carrying a toolbox boarded your ship, signed in, and now is nowhere to be found. What do you do? Stowaways have always been a problem at sea, but today the risk posed by stowaways to ships, crews, and their cargoes has increased dramatically. In this program, we'll examine this old problem and the new threat it poses. We'll look at preventive measures to keep stowaways off of ships. We'll see a search plan in action and look at the continuous improvement of these procedures to keep ships safe. The individual stowing away on your ship may have more on his mind than simply hitching a ride. With the increase in incidences of global terrorism, stowaways today also pose the threat of smuggling, seizure, and sabotage. Preventing and dealing with stowaways is far more now than simply a game of hide and seek.
Before we were looking at human cargo, if you will, coming in just to try and get into the country, and now you're concerned with, well, are they trying to get into the country just to get into the country, or are they trying to get into the country to do harm?
Most ships conduct relatively routine searches for stowaways and other suspicious activity.
When we have a large turnover of crew every couple months, it seems, and so therefore we have to continually train them, say, okay, this is what we're really looking for. When we do these searches, this is what needs to be done. I think the hardest thing for stowaways and crew is to convince the crew that it's a real threat.
The modern stowaway is in fact a very real and growing threat. Rigging explosives, committing arson or vandalism, intending a hijacking or seizure of the ship, tampering with or sabotaging cargo, smuggling weapons, including weapons of mass destruction, and even taking over the ship itself and using it as a weapon of terror.
They're really inventive. You know, they find really strange places to hide, and that's what's difficult to convince the crew, that these people actually crawl in a space that's this big around and is as long as the bridge in the engine room. You know, they'll crawl up in there and hide and think that, you know, hopefully you won't find them.
Once a stowaway is on board and the ship is at sea, you have few options. Find him if you can, disarm him, and detain him. All time-consuming and potentially risky activities. The best defense against stowaways is to prevent them from coming aboard in the first place. Here are 5 effective preventive measures. Develop a pass system that checks everyone embarking and debarking. Limit access by sealing off compartments. Securely lock hatches and other cupboards. Post a lookout or lookouts in especially vulnerable port and onboard locations. Check the authority of all personnel boarding the ship, such as stevedores. Stowaways frequently accompany stevedores on board vessels. Conduct a thorough examination of the ship prior to sailing. We'll discuss this in detail later. Consider technical measures to aid prevention, such as increased floodlighting and camera monitoring of dockside operations if necessary. The best preventive of all is simply vigilance, a crew and team of officers that literally become the eyes and the ears of the ship. With the proper training and procedures, vigilance becomes a habit. The ship's security plan must include procedures for quickly and efficiently searching the ship if a search becomes necessary.
So the best thing is to know your ship. Where are the hiding places? Obviously, spaces that we're in all the time are not really great hiding places. So what you need to concentrate on are the places where you don't go very often: steering gear rooms, tunnels, forward storerooms that you may not go into very often. But you really have to be aware that, boy, these guys will climb into just about any place that can conceal them for the time needed to get out of port.
Some search plan basics. Always search in teams, at least 2 crew members or more per team. Carry radios and flashlights for unlit spaces. Use your ears, not just your eyes. Use a checklist system to comb the 4 main areas: cargo spaces, engine room spaces, main deck spaces, ship's accommodation. Here are 4 sample checklists. In cargo spaces, check cargo holds, hatch combings, vents, deck cargo, hatch cover recesses. In engine room spaces, an overall check of the entire space, then the control room, storerooms, steering gear, bilges and bottom plates, the shaft tunnel, changing rooms, and the funnel casing and top. In main deck spaces, check the hold accesses, mast houses and mast heads, pump rooms and winch rooms, crane cabs, the forecastle, paint lockers, rope lockers and chain lockers, hawse pipes, fan rooms, and the bow thruster space. The accommodation checklist includes the bridge, radio room, battery locker, toilet, linen lockers, recreation rooms, galley, galley stores and fridges, changing rooms, accesses to the engine room, lifeboats, safety and emergency locker, general storerooms, laundry, hospital, CO2 room, emergency generator room, ship's office, air conditioning room, monkey island, mess room, and saloon. Your search checklist will vary according to your ship, its cargo, and its mission. The key is to really get to know that ship. Perfect your search processes. Lock up or seal any areas that might potentially hide stowaways.
We had 13 stowaways board my ship in Dominican Republic.
Captain Richard Klein knows the threat of stowaways is only too real. He preaches prevention and preparedness.
While we were conducting the search, one of the people, and again we did it in teams of about 4 people, one of the people came and, they came out at us and they had this machete.
Typically, one of 3 circumstances prompts a search of the ship. Regularly scheduled searches may be mandated by company policy, such as prior to leaving port. Special drills and exercises help sharpen the crew's experience and alertness. And any suspicious circumstances may prompt an immediate search. Search scenarios should be made as realistic as possible and never feel routine. Checklists should be continuously edited and refined. Vulnerable areas should be noted, evaluated, and locked or sealed. Efficient searches are important not just in cases of suspected stowaways. They're also used to find contraband, to suppress smuggling, and to respond to any suspicious circumstance. Searches can also be incorporated into other security and safety drills to build realistic and varied exercises. Here's a sample scenario. A broken seal is set up on a secured hatch to test crew alertness. Garbage and other evidence of human habitation is planted there to suggest stowaways. It's crucial that searches, whether routine or part of drill and practice, be learning experiences that improve competence and communication. The ship's security officer and other officers are responsible to document drills and exercises and create an atmosphere of continuous improvement where safety and security are paramount.
Hit down to the engine room. Get a 4-man team. Just a 4-man team. And just fan it.
That includes timely documentation and record keeping, reporting all incidents, updating the ship's security plan as new information develops or learning occurs, and continuing to train, drill, and practice.
It's pretty intimidating to have 13 people, and all of a sudden some weapons had been, basically slipped in there. You just don't know, and it's scary. So after that incident, the crew in particular, everybody's much more alert, and they see the difficulties and what can really happen very quickly.
In this program, we've examined this old problem and the new threat it poses, looked at preventive measures to keep stowaways off of ships, seen a search plan in action, and looked at the continuous improvement of these procedures to keep ships safe. Preventing stowaways, or finding them if they succeed in coming aboard, is just one facet of an effective ship security plan. Increased awareness, vigilance, and training will help ships and their crews counter this old problem and the dangerous new threat it poses.